Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 3 of the YAWCast podcast here, and it's been pretty fun so far. We got some interesting topics today. I'll throw it over to Niels. Let him bring up the first topic, huh?
The first topic, and I know Chris is right now. He's just like, why do these videos exist? I was doing some research unrelated to this. But I ended up coming across this video and it said ASMR, and I'm like, what the heck is ASMR? And all of a sudden my feed was just filled with this nonsense. So I clicked on it because, I was curious. I don't know if any of you...
Well, no, the backstory is you're doing some food stuff now.
Yeah.
And you were looking up food-related stuff.
Yeah, just like...
And this popped up when you were looking for food-type videos, right?
That's right. So okay. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing something that was...
You weren't just trolling for taboo.
No.
Like
I was on there doing research. Like, I just wanted to make sure whatever I was doing wasn't like, everybody's doing it, I just wanted something fresh and my own thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, So I came across this ASMR thing, and I'm like, naturally I clicked on it. But I looked on it, I was like, what is this? And I don't know if you ever know this. What does it mean? I actually brought this up. I have it.
It means autonomous sensory meridian response.
That's a fancy word for, I want to listen to people do really weird things, whisper into the mic. This is what they say. This is how
Let me just tell you guys.
It's so weird, man.
He linked me a video in Discord just before we started this podcast. He said, do you know what this is? I said, I've never heard of it.
No.
He linked me a video. And the video is about from the nose down on the it's like it's an Asian lady, obviously you can see.
Yeah.
From the nose down, and then it has a table full of what looks like maybe sushi.
Oh, it's dim sum or type of
dim sum.
Yeah.
Dim sum. And she has her chopsticks, and she grabs one, puts it in her mouth, and all you hear is...
Oh my God, it's so annoying, dude.
And then she whispers, "This one's really good." And it's like, I'm like, does she have a microphone inside her mouth?
It's
so
loud.
The idea
it's so loud.
Was that you could hear like the saliva and the teeth and the tongue, tip of the lips and all this stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you, dude.
Yeah.
My first thought is I want to stomp her in the throat. Okay? My second thought was, is this some kind of sexual taboo thing?
I thought it was a fetish too. Like, I know what you're...
Like a food and mouth fetish.
But there's
because the camera was zoomed in on her mouth.
I know. But I've seen ones where they have their kids involved. Like, they have their son or their daughter sitting there, and they just eat, and they don't talk, and they're like, oh, try this. Try this. This is lobster or whatever. And people just listen to them eating food. It's not just food, though. It's like combing things or going through books or circling things, and you can hear it concentrating on it. It's like these subtle sounds, and it's supposed to, I guess, relax them. That's what people say. But like you said, Meaty, there's some weird things that are like borderline fetish. Of course, the typical girls with the boobs showing in the videos and the thumbnails. I'm like, come on, man.
If you got the girl in the tank top and the boobs, and then the camera goes from boobs to mouth and making these slurping sounds, I'm like, come on, you guys. Listen, what it sounds and looks like to me is this is a cross between kind of new age hippies, like the new age, the crystals and all that stuff,
man, it's so
and the meditation and some sort of sexual taboo fetish thing here.
Yeah. Now I did a little bit of research. Oh, the other thing too is what was that? Mukbang videos, quasi-related, but not necessarily all about the silence and just the sound. Mukbang on some of the same channels is when these people sit down with a big meal and they eat that big meal in front of you. They don't talk to you. They just sit there and they eat this meal and they're like, oh, that's really good. Oh, man. And they're eating it.
You're just watching someone eat?
You're just watching them eat a big meal. That's it. That's what these mukbangs, some of them are like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. They're just going through huge meals and all they're doing.
And a lot of people are watching.
Millions, dude. Like, these channels are getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views per day. Per day, dude. And there's not just one.
I eat all the time. I make a vlog with cool stuff and editing and talking and all this music.
Meaty's mukbang.
What the...
Meaty's mukbang.
I could have been cashing in on this gut.
Holy mackerel.
Why would you want to just watch someone else eat?
But how have I just heard of this now? There's so many things on YouTube that I'm just not even aware of. Even though they have millions of views, it's like, I just found this out today. Meaty just found this out today, or Chris.
Unfortunately. There's a lot of things I wish I didn't know, and this is one of them.
It's so...
Like, seriously,
I don't know,
maybe I'm the weird one, but I really wanted to hurt someone when I watched that video.
You know what it is for me? The first thing, before I even knew what was going on, before I knew what the premise of this ASMR crap was, what irritated me the most, why I couldn't stand watching it, is I was raised to eat with my mouth closed, as proper manners and etiquette. I don't want to see your food. I don't want to see you chewing the cud like some cow in the field. Close your mouth and eat properly. Have some manners. But apparently in this, it's...
I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's not... Okay, there's no way that people are passing this off as, oh, it's just like listening to a waterfall or pretty birds.
The comments would tell you that.
Crashing in Malibu. No, this is like the kind of stuff that if the person at the table next to you is doing, you might flip the table over or act like the magician, try and yank the tablecloth out from them.
You want them to stop.
Like,
but there are legit ones, dude, when they're not even really showing their face and they're just like, they take, you know, like the old Yeti mics? I've seen one of those with one of the foam guards on it, and then someone took a comb and was just lightly brushing it, and you could just hear it going. That was the ASMR video, dude. That was it. The entire time. I'm just saying there's some weird stuff. I looked at it for 10
seconds, and if I never see one again, I'm fine with that. So I caution you guys, if you look it up, you can't unsee this stuff.
You won't see anything sexual, so don't worry about that. But like me said, there might be some undertones.
There is some undertones there. You don't sit there and watch a female eating and slurping and focusing on the mouth and it's just weird.
It is weird.
Like I said, maybe I'm weird though. Oh.
Maybe if you find it, maybe no one else finds it. Maybe that's you, matey. Oh.
I know. Maybe one of those underlying things just came out unexpectedly.
Like, why do they do it? Why do they have to be so sexy? I can't stand how sexy they are.
There's a million people going, where did you get sex from this, Chris? Nowhere.
Well, you know that place.
Wasn't it? No, it's like slurp, slurp, slurpee.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you guys. It was just something really weird. I literally just found today. So I thought, whatever. Let's start the podcast off with something really strange. And then we're gonna shift gears a little bit.
Let's shift gears quick.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Let's switch gears.
No, don't do that.
I actually don't like it. Also, just saying, I don't like it when people whisper in my ear, like really close to my ear. It bugs me.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, it is disturbing. Anyway.
Yeah.
So in the news today, Apple, whether you hate them or love them, became the first U.S. company to reach $1 trillion in worth. They're the second company in the entire world, which was PetroChina. 2007, they hit it. They're not at 1 trillion now, but they hit it briefly. So they're technically, they might have been the first company in the entire world, but I would imagine Apple's going to hold on to it just because there's so many. I was going to say it wrong.
Google
Apple
hasn't
followers.
hit $1 trillion?
Who? What?
Google?
No. Apple.
Amazon?
Nobody. Apple's the first U.S. company ever to hit 1 trillion.
It's weird because I know that Amazon's owner, CEO, is worth between 150 and 200 billion by himself.
Ridiculous.
So if but a lot of people don't know when you're talking about millions to billions to trillions, you really don't know what $1 trillion is. You may think you do, but you don't.
Ridiculous amount of money.
You may think you know what $1 billion is.
Yeah.
But so if you think about $1 million, that's 1,000 thousands.
Yeah.
1,000 thousands. So what's $1 billion? 1,000 millions.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount. You could go. That'd be like making $1 million for 1,000 weeks.
You know, I don't remember exactly, but this is I'm kind of paraphrasing. But someone was trying to explain the difference between. I think it was in a movie. Yeah, it was in a movie. Okay. The difference between $1 million, $1 billion, and $1 trillion. Because he said this stuff's worth trillions. He says. Somebody did a study where it's like 1 million seconds would be like 32 days, or it'd be like whatever that is. It's only less than a month.
Yeah.
Then they said a billion would be 32 years.
Oh yeah.
A trillion dinosaurs were still walking.
Yeah.
When you're talking about seconds of time. It multiplies out so huge that when you say you've reached a trillion, or when a country says they're trillions in debt, it's a big deal.
That's a lot. That's a lot of debt.
I was told there would be no math during the making of this podcast.
Stop hurting my brain on that.
I regret to inform you that I hate math.
But $1 trillion, I mean, it's a big feat. I know some people hate it. Meaty and I were talking about Apple, and I originally, my first smartphone actually, Meaty, was an iPhone. The very first smartphone that I got was an iPhone 4, I believe. Or was it a 3? I think it was a 4. It was my first and last iPhone. And I didn't do it because I hated it. I had that iPhone until iPhone 6 was out. And then I went into the store and I was like, I was going to get the iPhone 6 just because I was familiar with the software, right? I already knew how to use it, blah, 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 blah. And I went in there and I'm like, hey, I want to get an iPhone 6. And then they said, okay, well, that's fine, but have you considered a Samsung Galaxy? I think it was the S6 at the time. I was like, well, no. And I'm not one of these diehard people, these crazy fanatics. I say fanatics because Apple people do act like fanatics. I'm just saying. Like they sometimes go
like
cuckoo
they
bananas.
Invest that they own the company almost. If you speak bad about it, you're attacking their person because they
those big conferences when they announce new things. It's like it's like they announce the Lamb of God. They're like, we found
the Kool-Aid is flowing.
The Kool-Aid is flowing for sure.
It's flowing big
for sure. So I went in there with the intention of getting an iPhone 6, and then they did a comparison of the phones because we're YouTubers, because we share photos and all the other stuff, and I was getting into Twitter. Taking quality pictures is a big thing to me, and he showed me a side by side. He said, "Here's the iPhone 6, here's the Samsung Galaxy S6, here's the photos. Look at them yourself." And I was like, "Wow, the Galaxy camera was way better." And I was like, since I don't really care." I'm like, oh no, I can't abandon Apple. It's not like I had shares in the company or something.
Well, you have that tattoo on your butt, but besides that, go ahead.
A big apple. The Apple Corp.
He's got an apple with a bite out of it.
That's not true.
How do you know?
Don't be spreading rumors.
How do you know this?
Spreading rumors. But I don't know. I just find it feels like, and in Canada, actually, you looked up some stats. And we were trying to figure out, like in today's day and age, with all these other companies, with Samsung doing so well, there's LG, there's all these other companies that are really, Google Pixel, I guess they have their own, and Microsoft has their own.
Yeah, the Pixel XL, yeah.
Because all these other companies are under Android, right? So it's multiple huge billion-dollar companies all going under the Android. And it's just Apple going into the iOS software. It's just one. Right. It's really just one company. And we thought for sure there's got to be close. And you found stats that showed Android well above Apple actually today.
I found stats from 2016 that showed like an 80-20, Android at 80% worldwide, and Apple or iOS platform at 20%. Yeah. But then I found some other stuff more recent that shows like US and Canada is more iPhone.
Yeah, here it's heavy.
I saw
heavy
one
iPhone.
that said they bracketed in just a certain quarter when Apple released like iPhone 7, 7 Plus. Yeah. And there wasn't any real big releases for Android right at that time. Right. And it showed, oh my gosh, the sales of iPhones are way over Android. Sorry, Android users. But what they did was they bracketed in just one quarter.
Yeah, when they released a new iPhone versus there was no new release for any Androids at that time. So it was skewed,
It's hard to get an idea about real statistics, but all the statistics aside, it's really what do you like, what works for you, you know? Some people don't really know, so they buy into the sheep Kool-Aid mentality and say, "Oh my God, people. I gotta have this." You know,
if you love Apple, man, buy an Apple.
I myself have never owned an iPhone. Yeah. I myself have never owned an iPad. Oh. I myself have never owned an Apple product.
Really? You've never owned any Apple product?
Nope. I had Blackberries, I had Motorola Razors, I had Nextels, I had from that point on it was like from maybe 2010 on was Samsung stuff pretty much.
But wasn't
like
that a lot
Note.
of your business like provided you with
yeah,
that,
I
right?
used the
They're
Note.
like, here, use
the
use this.
Yeah, the Galaxy Note I used for like at least 4 years straight, and it was an awesome phone for work. It had a camera, it had all that stuff, but I wasn't really doing YouTube or any of that.
No.
Now I think I'm rocking an S7 Edge. That's what I have. It's a couple years old, but it works great for me. I take pictures with it. I post from it.
Nothing
I do
wrong with
video with it.
Yeah.
It works fine. But let me say this. My girlfriend has had 3 different iPhones because I get them for her.
And she loves iPhones. She's an iPhone user.
Yeah, and this is going to go to my next point, which might piss some people off, but it's actually, remember, you're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts.
Yeah.
This falls into that category. She also got a free, we leased a car years ago, a Cadillac, which I hate Cadillacs. So the things that I hate and will never own myself, she always owns, which is classic.
You're like, ugh.
So with that Cadillac came an iPad, and to this day, like 5-6 years later, she still uses that for her internet. She loves it.
Yeah, and a lot of people love them.
She loves the iPad and the iPhone. I have a Shield. I have an NVIDIA Shield, which runs an Android.
Yeah.
That's what I use for I don't really use
like
those.
a tablet or whatever.
For a tablet, I only really use it for drones and sometimes if I remember that I own it.
Yeah.
But I use PC most of the time.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. She really likes it because it's simple.
Yeah.
Okay?
The interface is very easy. It's very user-friendly.
And that is what it's supposed to be, everyone.
Yeah.
There's nothing good or bad, right or wrong about saying that it's easy. I'm not saying it's for dumb people.
That's why I got an Apple.
The design is they wanted close-ended, single source close-ended. That's why Apple is where they're at as the richest company because it's all them. Now, some people could look at that as a problem. Most people in today's day and age who, throw caution to the wind and just love everything that they shove down your throat, they'll say, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. iTunes and this and that. And I can airdrop this. And okay, well, if you like to dabble and try other things and do more stuff yourself and maybe be not more creative, but what Android does, because it's open source, it's almost like the difference between having 100 different options instead of one.
Yeah.
Like on a PC versus a Mac.
Yeah,
the
money, the Android market
market's
spread all over those companies instead of just that one.
The good thing about it, though, is you have a choice. You have a choice to choose that or this. And whatever you choose, if it's right for you, then it's right. That's it.
And there's different in quality in terms of the camera, in terms of everything else. If you like iPhones, and you don't want to switch over to Android, you're stuck with whatever. It's not that their cameras are crappy or anything like that, but there are better choices. But you can't do that because it's just one brand. You're stuck with it. That's it. I'd say stuck with it, but you know what I mean? Like you have no options to upgrade anything. It's what is in there and that's it. Whereas Android, if maybe you like the camera on the Galaxy better versus the LG, but maybe the LG has other features that make it way better than the Samsung. I don't know what they are, but exactly what you're saying.
It's actually the Pixel XL has the best camera. Camera. And then the OnePlus 6 or something is another one. I think HTC actually makes the Pixel phone for Google. So top down they get everything first. HTC was a big player back in the day. They were pretty cutting edge on their phones.
Pretty decent.
It's some neat stuff. But yeah, it's really up to you. And in today's modern age of tech, to the regular person, you're not going to see a difference. Between cameras and stuff. And if one's easier to operate than the other, one works better than the other, then go with that.
And you like it, who really cares? Just don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Just go ahead and take a sip. The thing from the outside looking in, from not being an Apple person or an Apple Kool-Aid, where I stomp my feet and praise the Lord of Steve Jobs, who actually was a terrible person. Steve Jobs.
You told me that. I never saw the movie.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie.
Apparently, you said he was
He
mean
was
and
actually
stuff.
an evil, terrible person. He was rude, mean, condescending, ruthless. But because he was successful in the tech world and was the head of Apple, even though he didn't ever create the stuff, everyone around him created.
Yeah.
He was like the ringleader.
What was the other guy? Wazowski? No, not Wazowski. That's
See, you don't even
that's
know.
from Monsters. Wozniak. I was just quoting Monsters.
He's the one who
Inc.,
actually
dude.
created everything. But my point is this:
Mike Wazowski.
that you put someone on a pedestal because of his success and success in tech and in being Apple in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But when you really learn about him, you read not just the movie, but documentaries about the people who knew him before he passed away.
Yeah.
That he was actually a very mean, ruthless person.
Yeah.
And to put him on a pedestal for his success and not have that side of the conversation, I think does
hold
it a
him
little bit of an
accountable for being
injustice.
really a kind of a douchebag of a
But
human being.
watching the audience react to him as he released the new products, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm watching a cult. At that time, you watch the movie and you'll see it. They're stomping their feet.
Dude, you can go on YouTube and see videos like that.
Oh my God.
They
It's
hand out
scary
the
to me.
Kool-Aid there, man.
Yeah, it's the sheep mentality. That could have been anything else. It could have been Samsung. It just happened to be Apple was driving this very unique, very cool stuff that they came up with. But there's some backstory there that I think if you care about things, that maybe you should look into that and get the whole picture.
Listen,
right?
People, there's good people out there. I'm not saying there isn't, and some of you, I'm hoping most of you guys watching this are good people, but let's face it, people don't really care about that. They don't care. They don't care where their meat comes from or if it's being mistreated at one farm or raised properly.
Yeah.
They don't care about how the workers at GM were treated or anything like that. They just want a cheap vehicle. Same thing with Apple. Even though he was a tyrant allegedly, I haven't seen the movie, but I believe you. If they're like, oh, Apple's the best. It's like they'll ignore it. They'll just ignore it just so they can continue with their little fantasy.
I found the movie very interesting. I didn't come out hating the guy, but I found it very interesting to see the dynamic of it and was like, wow. Now, really, to be any kind of super successful high-level CEO, you kind of have to be a sociopath.
Yeah.
You have to be a narcissist.
You can't really care about the public. You want to manipulate
Look up
them.
the definition. Like, you think I'm just name throwing. Look up the definition of narcissist. Look up the definition of sociopath.
Yeah.
And that will describe most super high level CEOs, Wall Street, tech giants. It's the mentality that they have to not only control the people under and around them, but to have this really crazy thought process to advance technology.
Yeah.
It's not that it's a terrible thing.
Cutthroat way, like
but
just at any expense.
it's almost necessary to get ahead.
Yeah.
And I looked up an article while you were talking. It from 2015. We were talking going back a little bit.
Yeah.
I asked about Google. So in 2015, Apple was still the world's most valuable company at $605 billion, but Google was right behind them at $527 billion.
Oh, really?
I wonder where Amazon falls in on that. That'd be interesting. Those are neat little things to look up if you guys are ever interested to look up like the top 5 companies. And what's funny is most of this stuff relates to all the stuff that we enjoy. The YouTube, the video making, the phones, the tech, all the stuff
all
that we're
intertwined.
around.
All intertwined.
Yeah, it's
especially
all
Amazon.
intertwined.
You're an Amazon junkie, man.
I love Amazon.
There's always the doors going off and you got a package.
I ordered a bobblehead that was 1-day delivery and it came in 2 days.
What?
That was my last order. And I'm going to call someone at Amazon and say, hey.
That's ridiculous. You had
do
to
you
wait
know who
2
I am?
days?
Do you know who I am?
I almost had to leave my house to get this. This
They're
is
like,
ridiculous.
no, we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your complaint has been noted. All right, we're going to shift to some gaming talk, and I thought maybe this topic would be, yay, gaming. That's what you guys are here for, guys and gals. We're on the cusp of the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 beta starting tomorrow. I don't think you have it, though, Meaty. You haven't pre-ordered or anything like that, right? So you won't be on the beta. So I pre-ordered it. I'm going to be playing it, hopefully recording some stuff for YouAlwaysWin as well. So look out for that stuff. But, Meaty and I, or Chris and I were talking about this. You know, before we even did this podcast, before we decided we were going to include it, we were just talking about Call of Duty, and we were kind of reminiscing over the past. We were reminiscing over, do you remember like before YouTube when we would come home, you'd be almost like excited to get on with your buddies and play. You know, you were kind of like me, I think, mainly playing a lot of search and destroy, not so much the other game modes.
I played a lot of Sabotage.
Yeah, I like
Sabotage.
COD 4 Sabotage. I didn't really get into Domination. A little bit of Headquarters, mainly Sabotage and Search and Destroy is what I played. Yeah. But for us, it's like, okay, over all these years, we've seen the peak of Call of Duty, you know, and it's changed. And that was like, what is that, 11 years ago? 11 years ago, more than a decade when Call of Duty 4 came out. And then it rose, and then World at War didn't do as well as COD 4, but then all of a sudden, because Treyarch really kind of was the black sheep of the family at that time, still they're not the same, you know, they're now the shining knight, but back then, not so much. And then Modern Warfare 2, it hit even bigger heights. And then there was Black Ops 1, which again was an improvement, I think, over World at War, but horrible, horrible launch for PlayStation gamers. And then Modern Warfare 3 was the absolute peak of Call of Duty. It's very close now. I think Black Ops 2 was very, very close, actually, and still remains very close. In sales, and overall sales. Super close to it. But Modern Warfare 3 marked the peak of the Call of Duty franchise. And then after that, it has been going down and down and down. Every time there's a Treyarch one, though, it pops back up. You know, it does better than all the other ones, because right now Treyarch they're the man, and they're making much better. And you know what? In all honesty, we've talked about this too, Meaty. Black Ops 2 was, we had fun playing it. It was a really well-written game.
I liked it a lot, I actually, you know, after Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2 is by far the most hours put in out of any of them.
Yeah,
by far.
So it was
like
fun.
triple.
But it's like we don't have the same feelings. Even now, even though we don't play it a lot, maybe that has something to do with it, but there's something about Call of Duty, the Call of Duty now, even though I really liked World War II, I actually do enjoy it. They have 20 million. I thought it was actually a lot less, but they've sold 20 million. The peak is something like 31 or 32 million sales. That's what Modern Warfare 3 is, or 30.87. I don't know, something around there. So it's not really far up, but that's 10 million previous Call of Duty gamers that aren't playing. That's a lot, man. 10 million is a lot. We were trying to figure out what it is that caused this. And I put out a video yesterday that you guys would have been seen is, did YouTube ruin Call of Duty? And what I meant by that, it was just really one aspect is, did like all these troll videos, all these trick shot videos, all this other stuff, did they ruin the experience that drew, you know, yourself and myself to that game, Meaty? Like, did all that stuff, and now people are just trying to trap people in corners with things because they think it's funny because they saw some YouTuber do it. But is that just a small part of it in the overall scheme of that made us kind of lose interest? Like, I still love Call of Duty, but it doesn't do the same for me. And I wish I could have that feeling. I wish I was like, oh man, I can't wait to hop on, play some late night search. I just don't have it. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it. Like,
well, I think that one of the main things that you got to know is that we're talking about this and we're passionate about it because it's such a standout game that we love so much. We've played hundreds and thousands of games of all different types of genres. But there's just a handful of games that you can say, my all-time favorite stuff that I did, you know, was not just the time, the people, but the enjoyment that you had in that particular game. And Call of Duty was always something for us, coming home from work and playing. I didn't come home from work and play Minecraft. Minecraft didn't exist. You know, it was about Call of Duty, and it was about the style of Call of Duty that it was. And I think that it may have a little bit to do with as you get older. You know, say you start playing something as you're 15. By the time you get to 25, your tastes have changed. But Call of Duty is a type of game that can span many generations, many decades of ages. And so for me, I don't think it's as much that. And I don't know. I think that saying whether YouTube, and the stuff that went on there affected the player base.
Maybe we played too much. You know?
I don't know. I have a theory on it. You want to hear my theory?
I want to hear your theory.
Okay.
I think we all do.
Looking back, you know, I think that Call of Duty 4 was more nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like it was like the original Call of Duty 4 was the first multiplayer game I played online. It's the first game I actually went online and played against other players.
It was like watching Matrix for the first time. You're like, whoa, the concept is cool.
Just awesome. Yeah. You know, but I mean, you can break it down. There was a lot wrong with the game.
Oh yeah.
But there was a lot of good things right. And the thing about that game was it was very basic. There was only 3 kill streaks.
Yeah. UAV,
so
artillery,
everyone had
and
the
chopper.
Everyone had the same.
Yeah.
You could shoot them down. You could do whatever. And it was running around, no nothing. It was just straight up. And then World at War came out. It was the same idea. Yeah. Then Modern Warfare 2 came out, and they made a pretty big shift to selectable kill streaks.
And a lot more kill streaks, and very powerful.
A lot more powerful.
The nuke game ending, done.
Well, you go, you know, you got AC-130 chopper gunner nuke.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you had some extremely game-ending, overpowerful stuff. So that was the big transition. But basically, you still had the same base game, this awesome running around shooter game. And then, you know, Black Ops, same thing. Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
And then Modern Warfare 3, same thing.
I
they're tweaking
Modern Warfare 3. I still enjoyed it.
Score streaks and kill streaks around.
Yeah.
But it's still the same basic game. And then they flip the table. And they start doing
futuristic sort of stuff.
Exosuits, jetpacks, sliding, wall running, all these weird things. So here's my theory. If you were born at a certain time and you came into playing Call of Duty after all these games I just mentioned, you're probably like, Chris, what are you talking about, dude?
Loved it. Advanced Warfare, fantastic.
Like, you could go back and play now, but it's not the same thing when that game was new and that was the newest, latest and greatest, and everybody was in playing.
Yeah.
So you have a certain time of these gamers that are used to this and a certain time of the newer gamers used to this, and then they start butting heads. And then you have the gamers, like a lot of YouTubers, that they'll say like, oh my God, I love the new jetpacks. And then they see that it's not popular and they go, I want boots on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground. Back to that. They just,
sheep.
Their wagon. They just
back to Kool-Aid drinking sheep for money on that one.
I don't like those channels at all.
Here's my theory.
Ride the waves.
Here's my theory. You take games like League of Legends, CSGO.
Yeah.
They have a base.
Not changed.
Yeah, they have a base game that has stood the test of time. What have they added in there? Little things like skins, maybe new maps.
Yeah.
You know, the basic things, but the core of the game is the same.
Yeah, the fundamentals didn't change.
Right, and so Call of Duty 4, Modern World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, that's 5 games made once a year that had the same core thing. As soon as they shifted from there, it started to shift the player base. Now, you got a bunch of new players in there, and they loved it because that's what they do. They fly around and spin around and do all the stuff that they do.
The jetpacks.
Right, but then it came to a point where people started going, well, we want to go back.
Yeah,
we want to go back to what they're calling boots on the ground. None of this futuristic crapola. So I thought, well, if you look at other manufacturers, game developers, designers, and publishers, they have what I thought that if I was a dev, instead of saying, all right, we've got 3 different developers. We have Treyarch, we have Sledgehammer, we have Infinity Ward.
Right.
And so Treyarch, each one is going to have now, instead of every year, every 2 years, it's every 3 years. Right?
Oh, yeah, because they have those in the rotation now.
Right, every 3rd year now, Treyarch is the one releasing game, and it should be incredible because now they have so much more time to put it together.
It used to be a 2-year rotation.
Yeah. So maybe instead of doing 3 of the same thing and keep calling them Call of Duty, they should look at like what DICE does.
Yeah.
So DICE will release a Battlefield game.
Yeah.
But then the next year, it's not Battlefield. It might be Battlefront.
Yeah.
It might be what's that one you played, the cops and robbers thing?
Oh, Hardline.
Hardline?
Yeah.
Look, so what this allows you to do is to still all of those games. You say, well, if you strip them down, blindfold somebody, it's still Battlefield, right? It's still
it feels like Battlefield. It plays like
still
Battlefield.
DICE
The maps are
or
different. And everything.
yeah, it's still the same companies making them. But if you wanted to transition from the core of Call of Duty, instead of saying Call of Duty, 22, it's the next year's Call of Duty, and we're gonna fly around on jetpacks.
Yeah.
Call it something different.
Yeah. I think there's too many. I agree. I think there's that whole routine, while it was working for him in the past and I was kind of excited, I was only excited for the rotation because I didn't want that World at War. I didn't want that Black Ops. I enjoyed the Modern Warfare by Infinity Ward more. I enjoyed the COD 4 more, so I was wanting that other one, but I still played it in the meantime. You know what I mean?
So here's what DICE does. They'll release a Battlefield, and then the next year they release whatever it is. Let's call it Hardline.
Yeah.
And let's say that 70% of the community who would have played the next game didn't like it.
Yeah.
That Battlefield game continues through that year on into the next year until the next Battlefield game. Battlefield 4 lasted easily 2-3 years.
They held on to solid numbers, right? They
2
were like,
to 3 years.
Yeah.
Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and they were releasing other games, but what these developers need to do if they're going to take on that strategy is you've got to release not even DLCs, release new maps. Add in more guns or attachments.
That would be great.
Something to say, hey, expand the level cap, right? Say, well, I'm maxed out at 130. Well, we just bumped it to 150, and to go from 130 to 150 will take you twice as long as it did to get from 0 to 130.
Yeah.
It's these little things that keep people interested. And if the game is solid, they also created a community test server where there was problems with the game, even a year and a half into the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So they had this test server. They would try things, and people would go in there and play it. If it worked, they
give
would
them
tweak
feedback, whatever. Yeah,
and then they would release it live, right?
Yeah.
So a community test environment.
Yeah, it was
2
great.
years into the game, it's like you see they're building a franchise instead of using the name and every year kind of beating it up a little bit and using it like Play-Doh. Is like, I wonder if everybody's gonna like this year's thing.
Yeah.
Well, how about come out with a different game it's basically Call of Duty in space without saying it's Call of Duty in space.
Yeah.
Because if it fails,
something exactly.
Yeah. If it fails, you still have the existing Call of Duty that can carry you through to the next year.
Or else you're thinking, oh my God, Call of Duty is going in this direction.
Exactly,
I'm giving up on Call of Duty.
Exactly.
And a lot of people did do that. I maintained it. And I was hoping they'd come back, and they did come back to boots on the ground, but it still wasn't enough. And I think World War II is fine, but
it seems good. I've played it only a little bit. It seems pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that simple though. I think there's so many things. Like even when you started talking about back in the day, like we played it all the way, enjoyed it all the way up until Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 2 or whatever. But there were changes. There was like these micro changes along the way that I think over time, as they accumulated, started changing really the fundamentals and a lot of what the gameplay was, what we loved, and why Call of Duty 4 was Game of the Year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it was, like you said, it was simplicity. The kill streaks, there was 3 of them. So people weren't sitting there just hoping. You would still try and get them, but they weren't anything like crazy. They weren't game breaking. They weren't game ending.
Yeah.
You would have them. They would be
and
annoying.
You
could shoot them down
so
pretty
easily.
easy.
Yeah.
RPD on the chopper, boom, done. That thing was
the
just...
focus was on gunplay. Which
was
is
on
what
the
I
gameplay.
Even though I love Battlefield, like I'm a Battlefield player, and Battlefield is all about the vehicles and the air power and all this stuff. I hate the vehicles and the air power because they kick my butt. I'm an infantry player. So even in Battlefield, I love gun-on-gun type action rather than all this other stuff. But the environment... It brings it all together.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about the early Call of Duties. It was about gun versus gun, not necessarily the kill streaks.
But not in Modern Warfare 2 though, dude. I think that was
it was a huge shift. Yeah.
They started going down an avenue. Although I found it fun at the time, if I look at it in retrospect, I think, oh my God, now the focus is And that happened in Modern Warfare 2. People would camp. They would not play the objective. They would not go after it. All they were focused, they didn't care about the team. They would do the douchiest things that they could possibly do. And I did them myself. But you would do them so you could get the chopper gunner, so you could get the nuke and everything like that. It wasn't about the gameplay. It wasn't about outmaneuvering or understanding map recognition and everything like that, or how players move. It was all about just trying to get those kill streaks. And they kept on doing that. And then they kept on adding new things to distract you from the core game. And for me, the kill streaks, while I thought they were fun, I think they distract players from what made Call of Duty so great back in COD 4. What caused this whole catalyst for Call of Duty in the first place. Because it really was the catalyst. It was Game of the Year. People were like, my God, that's such an awesome game. I can't wait for the next Modern Warfare. You know, and it happened in 2, and then it happened in 3, and then I think after 3, the reason why it went down is like, you know what, this isn't the direction I want to go to. And then they did skill-based matchmaking instead of just general lobbies. In COD 4, you were just thrown in a lobby based on region. It was like, if there's enough players, blam, you're just thrown in there. And
it's not good. There's stuff wrong with that too.
Like I agree.
You know, 3 times frag, and whoever was the host. And
exactly.
There was a lot of
Big
things
advantage.
wrong. That's not really my point. You know, you could nitpick at the actual game itself, but more of the direction of where it went. And is that the cause of its declining sales?
Yeah.
Or is it just the very nature of today's gamer?
Yeah,
what's the bigger and better thing? What do you have to offer me now? What am I getting for free?
What's the stimulation?
Gimme.
The stimulation, you know what I mean? Like it's like boom, boom, boom. Before, I was happy to just have this really awesome fight with friends, communicating, joking in the lobbies, you know, your fair share. But when we played and we communicated to try and win that game. You know what I mean? That was the fun of it. And now it's like, I see people doing 360 no-scope, why this, trapping people in the corner, doing things that I've seen in YouTube videos. That's why I was like, did YouTube ruin it? But it's the kill streaks. I don't know if it's the map design. It's not like, because I'm a search player, it's like not all the maps and the placement of the bombs were like traditional search and destroy. Search and destroy bombs traditionally were closer to defense. Always closer to defense than offense. They would get in position, they're like, defend the bomb. So you'd get in position and offense came. But in recent CODs, they either put them in neutral, they put them in the center. I'm like, you're changing so much of Call of Duty that I think you know what I mean? Like
that's not even search and destroy anymore. It's a very strange.
Look at it on CSGO. CSGO is pure search. They're closer to defense. The offense has to really work hard to get to those. The defense always has time to get there before the offense. That's the way search should be. But if there is one that's closer, there's one that's closer for the offense, there's like a very dangerous way to get to it. Yeah.
You know, it's like you have to go down a long straight where you're exposed.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, thinking back, I think back, you know, my time in Call of Duty 4, since I was new, half my time I was terrible player because I was just learning how to play.
Yeah.
Not only that game, but with the controller, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the second half I was really good. And then World at War, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, but it was laggy and there was all kinds of problems.
Hit detection was really bad. Rubber banding.
Modern Warfare 2, Search and Destroy was epic. Like it was so good. And you never got nuked, you never got chopper gunnered, you never got AC-130'd in Search.
No.
And we never did as a team either because, you know, no one got, not that we were better than everybody, but no one went on a streak like that.
No.
You know, because it flip-flops.
We would destroy.
It was so good though. Like there was you remember like Afghan and all the crazy maps in the cave.
Yeah, with the AC crashed AC-130 in the middle.
Oh, it was good.
So
and
good.
There was like it was neat positions and no one would see there's griefing in every game.
Yeah. Campers,
I mean, there's griefing in
campers,
Minecraft. There's going to be griefing in Fallout 76. There's griefing in everything. And I think that goes today's modern gamer. Someone, I equate it to an online bully. Okay.
Yeah. You think it's funny to be a douchebag, like?
Well, because they might be the people that actually get bullied at school or something.
Yeah.
And online, there's this anonymity that no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
No one will ever like come and punch you in the face for being a griefing douche,
Yeah.
right? So they do this stuff that they would never do in real life. Like, and you're like, me, this is a video game. No, what I'm talking about is like, look, if you want to do that stuff, there's TDM and free-for-alls that you can go do what you want.
Yeah.
The thing is,
do whatever.
it's harder to do it in that than it is when you're in a lobby with, 12 players and 11 other players are actually trying to play an objective, and you are going around goofing.
Yeah, you're ruining it for other people.
Yeah,
you're ruining.
And it kind of ties into your conversation we had a podcast or two ago about Rainbow Six and this whole
the toxic community and everything.
The toxic community. That's why it's like borderline. We almost need a vote kick, like a way to get someone out of there. Going, dude, listen.
Yeah.
Can we just enjoy
But the
our
defense
game?
that's saying, oh, it's just a game, is not a defense. A good person, a truly good person like you or I, Chris, or some of you out there that just want to have fun, you're a good person. You wouldn't make someone miserable in real life. So why do it online? If you find enjoyment from making someone else angry, from doing something that's going to enrage them at their expense and it's just to amuse you, that's not a good human trait. That's not a good way to think. Like, you're not a good person when you think that way. If you're doing it, it's a selfish thing to do, and it just makes you a douchebag. I don't care if it's in a video game or in real life. Those actions speak to who you are as a person. And if you do griefing, if you do the riot shield because you think it's funny, you're just a jerk. You're either a bully, you're an online bully, you're a jerk, or you're just garbage.
Or you've been bullied and you're getting revenge.
And why would you do
no
that? You know how horrible it is. Why return that?
Would you?
It's
Okay,
bad.
so basketball, football, soccer, they're all games too, right? So in the middle of a basketball game, if you were riding the pine, which you probably would if you're one of these people, would you take and dump a bunch of basketballs as they're coming down the court while they're in the middle of the game playing? Would you do that?
You'd never do that.
Not ever. Not in a million years would you ever do that. Because one, you would injure players, people would fall down, the whole stadium would want to take you out, and hang you on a yard arm.
You would not make it out alive.
So why is it okay? Because look, there is a huge push with the number one game in the universe, Fortnite, to become a legit like professional game, right?
Yeah.
What am I thinking of?
Competitive or whatever?
Competitive MLG type game.
Yep.
And what they're saying is they want the players to be considered like Ninja, to be considered like Iverson, like Jordan, like these other like professional,
hold yourself
well-known,
accountable,
right.
ethics
So
and morally.
If that's the case, then as a community, what are you doing? Like before you know it, if we get to that point where it's like it's kind of relatable to real life, like throwing basketballs on the court while they're running, it's you doing something like that. It's like, wow, there actually could be repercussions.
Yeah,
And
if you are one of those, I hope you get permanently banned. I don't care if you spent all that money. I don't care if you think it's just digital and online. You're a horrible person to think that it's okay to make another human being. Because while it's online and while it's just digital, that is a real person on the other side that you're making miserable, that you're upsetting. And maybe it's just a game, but they're trying to go on there to have fun. And you're actually an evil person for doing that. I truly believe that. I know some people think, oh, you're getting exaggerated. I'm like, no, I'm a good person.
Well, I always say I don't care what people do in real life. I don't care what your belief systems are. I don't care like what drives you, what all the political topics these days. I don't care. As long as whatever you do doesn't hurt anyone else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can choose to do whatever you want, as long as you don't. I don't want you to hurt yourself either. Don't hurt yourself or anyone else. And then you can choose to believe what you want to believe, act the way you want to act, do what you want to do. But you cannot step over that line and affect somebody else, because that's when people could start to take offense to that.
Yeah.
And as soon as you step over that line, now you're up in my grill, and now we have a problem.
Just be a good person, Just be good.
Just hug it out, man. Hug it out.
All right, we're going to end this session. As all things Call of Duty, we're going to go over some community things. In the video, I'd ask you what you think was the demise and everything. And I don't want to leave it on a negative note, because I'd like to think that one of my absolute favorite games ever, although it's not up there right now, that there's some way, like, is there some way? But in talking about this, we're almost trying to figure out, is there a way to fix this? Because if we can identify what the problems are, then they potentially could fix it. But if we don't talk about them, it's not meant to just like, oh, let's bash Call of Duty. I like Call of Duty a lot. I play it during the day. You know what I mean? Like, and Chris, you know that. I played it a lot.
You've never not bought a Call of Duty. You've never not given it a try.
No.
And you keep going back to it as trying it out.
I know.
If you got nothing going on, you jump on, you play.
I'm hopeful for it. So don't take it as us bashing it or anything like that. It's not like that. But we're realistic.
It's because you care about the game.
Yeah. So I asked what people thought was wrong with it, and I took some of the most common things, the repeated things that people said. So the first one is, this one here is greed. The DLC costs, the loot crates, the pay-to-win weapons, that's an issue. That's what's driving some of you guys away from Call of Duty. And I can see that. You know, the DLC costs, there's games like, we mentioned this before, Mini, Star Wars Battlefront 2, free DLC, you know? Yeah. Does Call of Duty need to sell the DLC separate? The problem is, if you don't buy the DLC, you get kicked from lobbies. It segregates and separates the community for those that can't afford it. They love the game, but they can't afford it for whatever reason.
That's a problem. That's a problem if you
come
out with DLC.
Do they need to charge for DLC? Don't they make enough, like 20 to 30 million copies, for each Call of Duty per year, arranging around there? Can you imagine? And we're talking about things to fix it. What if Call of Duty next year said, you know what? DLC, all included in the Call of Duty. I guarantee you that would change a lot. It would have a huge impact on that. You know what I mean?
It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, it would be interesting.
Be a little bit more. But the loot crates, I'm kind of torn on this. I don't know how you feel about this, Chris, but for me, I don't care about loot crates because they're optional. You can spend money, you don't spend money. I never bought loot crates. Actually, that's not true. I think for zombies I did. But generally, I had like 200, 300 loot crates to open up. I never opened them. I don't care what my costume is, but I'm one of those kind of hardcore old school ones. I don't care about the dances, the emotes, or anything like that. I don't care about that. The problem, and Call of Duty actually has done this, is they put weapons that are in the loot crate. And some of those weapons were very powerful.
Well, that's terrible then. That's
yeah.
Look, I agree with you. I don't care about loot crates.
No.
But it can only be cosmetic stuff in loot crates. You cannot
CS:GO. Perfect.
You cannot put guns. You can't do that. No. And the big thing with Battlefront 2, even though they did free DLC, everybody destroyed the game because they had loot crate type stuff. Yeah. Microtransactions. Yeah. And in there, they weren't giving you guns, but they were giving you unlocks that if you didn't get that unlock, like in the game, it would take you like 100 hours or something to get it, where someone could buy it by chance and get it earlier. So it's kind of the same thing in theory, that you're getting an advantage, even though it wasn't a weapon. Yeah. It was an unlock. Like maybe it was a certain hero class or something.
Yeah, just make it cosmetic though. I think that's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, then no one will complain about it.
Call of Duty, knock it off with the loot crates, the weapons. Stop putting them in there.
You can't do that because that's straight up pay to win.
No, and you know what? People are like, the pay to win aspect. This is what I'm all about. Whenever they add new weapons, whenever their game is out new, think about this, Meaty. I always alternate between Meaty and Chris, but Meaty is what I want to call you. But anyway, when the game first comes out, there's so much imbalance on the weapons. There's some weapons that are clearly, in whatever Call of Duty title, there's some weapons that are super powerful and those that aren't. And then they go through months and months of nerfing and buffing to try and find that balance. Who's to say, and I'm not saying that they do this, but I always thought this as a conspiracy theory, who's to say that when they add these weapons in the DLC, the loot crates or whatever, that they don't purposely make them just a smidge bit better, a little bit better, a little more powerful, a little faster on the shoot,
so
a little less.
It?
And they're like, oh yeah, we have to, because they'll get killed by it. But then later they're like, we nerfed them and adjust them after. But in that initial stage, when they get killed by, they're like, wow, that weapon was crazy powerful. Because I personally felt that. I was like, man, these weapons feel like OP. Everyone that's got one always uses it. like the fully automatic M1, the Volkssturmgewehr. I hate that word. Remember we were talking about it in Zombies. That thing is so powerful and
the Volkssturmgewehr.
Good fire rate.
It's the people's machine gun,
dude. It's so good, and that was in loot crates. I think you can do it by building other things, but it encourages people. They're like, oh man, I'm gonna really spend my money, and like I need that gun because it's so good. And I'm like, man, that's kind of douchey. Take the weapons out of the loot crates. Stop putting them in there. I don't care about loot crates in general. Just make it cosmetic. That's it. So
it's got to be cosmetic, and then there's no more argument.
Yeah, and the DLC costs. I think Call of Duty, the number of sales that they make, I think honestly they could afford to include all DLCs in the actual game. I don't think they're going to lose money. Not at 20 to 30 million units. You know, downgrade your production costs a little bit. Get a little bit smarter there. At 20 to 30 million units, I'm pretty sure you can throw in the DLC for free, and it won't fragment the actual community.
Yeah, you know, they're charging $60 and then all these other things to get the original game. And I think games are shipping now with less maps to begin with. So they're saving money there and they're making money on the DLC. So how about instead of 7 maps, give us 10 to 12 maps on release for $60.
Yeah.
And then people would be a little bit more inclined to pay for a DLC, seeing that they thought that, wow, we got a lot of maps to start with. I want 4 new ones plus a zombies.
Yeah, let's see some. And they got 3 years to do it, dude.
Get some value added here, and then let's talk. You know, it can't just be about 100% profits here. I know it's a business, but wow, you're cutting maps down on release and then also charging for a few more.
Yeah,
so
it's just not worth it. And this was a comment, and we actually talked about this before too. There was other comments of this. Lack of good kill streaks and great maps. Now, I agree with the great maps a little bit. I do see like the older maps, like they were just designed, again, from a search and destroy perspective. They just seem to be designed better. Yeah, 3 lanes, Rundown. Remember Rundown? Yeah. The 3 bridges, boom, boom, boom. So
that was so good, dude. I remember playing on
so good.
What was that? We used to compete. What was that called?
Game battles, GBs.
Game battles. I remember game battles
intense.
on Rundown.
Oh man, it was so
I think
fun.
I was in there with you, and I was down behind the little half wall. They were in there. I had your gun because it was a suppressed Uzi.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite SMG. I never thought I'd ever do that, but it was an awesome weapon. But like better maps, I get that. The lack of good kill streaks, I have to take exception that I don't agree with that. I think there should be less kill streaks. I think this whole kill streaks thing is adding all this variety is based on this current generation of I want so much in the game instead of focusing on the fundamentals, the core. CSGO doesn't use it. You don't need it in Rainbow Six Siege. Those games are more about the gameplay. And these kill streaks, they kind of bastardize the fundamentals of COD 4 and what made it great and what made it fun and the reason why it became the catalyst for the series. It's now about more focus on what extras can you get. Why don't you just concentrate on trying to win and improve your skill and your map knowledge and stuff? You know what I mean? I don't want the kill streaks.
I just had a brilliant idea.
Oh my goodness. Well,
you ready for this, you guys? Everyone out there? Treyarch, are you listening?
We're ready!
Activision, listen. Activision, listen. Let's check this out. Kill streaks. Let's say you have the whole bevy of score streaks / skill streaks. Ready?
Yeah.
All of those are only available in free-for-all and TDM.
Yeah.
When you go into an objective-based game, there's only 3 kill streaks, and they're like UAV, counter UAV, chopper,
or something like that. Whatever along that. I agree. I think that's a great idea personally.
Something very simple because we're in here to do the objective-based gameplay, right?
Yeah. The last thing I want is some doucher camping because he doesn't want to go.
But you don't want not any kill streaks because like when that UAV pops on search, if you're me and I don't have all the perks to hide myself, I'm like, oh dude, I'm the only one showing up on the map. So you need to have some, but you don't have them all. You go down to 3. And then that way, if people want to play play the camping, I want to get my kill streaks, you go into TDM and free-for-all, because that's where we want those people to go anyway, who don't want to play the objective. I just, Activision, hook me up.
I think that's actually
I'm here for you.
A pretty good idea. Even domination, look, I see way too many domination videos on YouTube. Look at this, I got 100 kills. So what, man? You're using all these kill streaks,
domination,
you're camping,
though,
like it's...
Yeah. Domination really falls in between those two that I just described. You know, I'm thinking search versus TDM. Domination is like the combination of the two, and I think you would really need to leave the whole bevy in domination.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it would change the game
what other
too
objective
much.
game then would that apply? It's like leave our search alone. Make search without
I would love
touching
to see,
that, you know?
I would love to see search and destroy, sabotage, and war.
I never liked war, but...
Well, I'm saying that war is one of the... But war...
But war's like TDM, though, isn't it?
War would need those kill streaks, you know? Because it's more of this pushing and pulling, shoving match. I would love to see a solid sabotage and search.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that would make me happy. As long as I didn't see that, because I knew people would play more focused on it.
Why not say, okay, these two game modes have 3... Here's your kill streaks. UAV, counter UAV, and some kind of chopper.
Yeah.
That floats around.
Like autonomous or whatever, so that you're not sitting there.
You're not controlling it.
So the player's not sitting there going...
And you shouldn't be controlling something in search.
That's a bad kill streak to pick, by the way. If you're a search player, don't pick those.
Don't ever pick that.
So... here's a big one here, and this is more reflective of, and it only applies to Black Ops 4 coming up, and why people are like, I don't want to get it. No campaign. There's no single player campaign.
I love campaigns, by the way. I've played, I think, every campaign, even though I didn't play multiplayer.
Yeah. Oh, you see, I'm the opposite. I played campaign up until Modern Warfare 2, and always just jumped right into multiplayer after that. But I think that was because of more YouTube stuff, not the other way around. But anyway. And then adding Blackout Battle Royale mode, only available to those that get the Seasons Pass. The Season Pass or whatever. That's why everyone's freaking out, because they're like, no, here's the game, but if you don't get the Season Pass, you don't get the Blackout mode. And we're relating back to the other one, that greed mentality. We know you're a business, Activision. We're not stupid. We're like, it's not. Like I always say, you're not the Red Cross. I know you're not saving lives and everything like that. But there's got to be a limit. Don't hold things that are highly anticipated and hostage to people. You know, make it part of your game. I honestly think they need to get away from this friggin' DLC, season pass bullcrap. You sell so many copies. I know you'll still make a profit. But think about this. Of all those people, bring back that 10 million that gave up on you. If you could bring them back, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about friggin' DLC. You got 10 million other people buying your product again.
Man,
if you just stop with the greed. I don't know how you feel about that.
The only way to stop that is for people not to play the game.
But
once they see they're losing so much market share, they have to make a change.
I know. Will that happen? I don't know. We see it fluctuating, but I mean, even World War II got 20 million. That's still a huge number. You know. You
know, the other side of that, though, if you say up front, you can't have something unless you get season pass.
Yeah.
Then in my book, I hate that. But in my book, you can never release that later on.
Yeah, because you basically rip everyone else off that
everyone who bought season pass to get it.
Like you forced me to buy it.
Livid.
You know, I always end up buying it, so it doesn't affect me. But I understand what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
The point is, it's that flip flop there. It turns people away.
Yeah, but dude, they did that. I don't know. They did that with the last one. With the remastered, Modern Warfare Remastered, they said only here, and then later they said, well, we're not selling it separately. And what do? They sell it separately.
I know. You can't do that.
No,
it's like total betrayal.
Come on,
and
Activision.
It's betrayal actually of your most valued customers, the ones who bought the stuff up front.
These are like easy fixes, though, man. The problem is because it's a big corporation. We're talking about billions of dollars. Millions, billions, whatever the case may be. Yeah. It's these boardrooms, these corporate people, they're not connecting with the gamers, you know?
Well, what you and I say and what a lot of people are listening right now means nothing in the big picture because you're talking about worldwide sales.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard.
Again, you speak with your pocketbook. You speak with your wallet that if you don't like it, then one, don't buy it. don't play it, and don't talk about it. Because when you talk about it, even in a negative, you're giving them free advertisement.
It's promoting the game, really. It's just like, what are they talking about? Oh, this game, if you didn't know about it. But anyway, so the other one here is, and I see this a little bit, the private chat lobbies instead of communicating with the whole team. And they're talking about like on PlayStation and I believe on Xbox, but I don't really know. I can't remember. But when you go in there, you can create, your PlayStation party, then go into the game, and you can't hear anyone else, and no one can hear your team talking, even if you're just 2, 3, one person or whatever. But I'm like, and a lot of people do that, even if you're on their team. A lot of people do that in Search and Destroy. And like, again, it comes back to Search and Destroy for me because that's what I play most of the time. But that's a pure team communication thing. You know what I mean? And the other aspect of it, that it's kind of been around all the time, is the mic spammers, music playing, the people that are annoying on the mic, the people that are just talking smack. I think there's like a huge increase. I don't remember, maybe I'm all, rose-colored glasses or whatever, but I don't remember it being like that in COD 4 when we were chatting in lobbies. I remember making a lot of friends.
That's because we were PlayStation players, and back then PlayStation didn't have the whole mic thing. That was the big Xbox versus PlayStation, that Xbox ships with a mic. PlayStation doesn't, and the ones that they had were so bad that no one used them. So it was really quiet on PlayStation, unless you were like us who had headsets like this with mics and we talked. Now, I'm not sure where your stance is on that, but where my stance is this. If I don't know the people, I don't want to hear them. I don't care. I don't care if you're telling me I'm flanking left, you go right. If I don't know you, I'm just going to look and see what your character's doing, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But if I know you, and we're going to be in a party, I want to talk, and I don't want to hear any of that else.
Yeah, so but didn't you make any friends on COD 4? Like people that you didn't know in real life, but you met online?
Yeah.
You had to have been chatting them.
For sure.
So that goes against what you're saying, though. Like there was a time when...
nowadays. Like nowadays, I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't just want to know what other people are saying or doing, because most of the time it's just pure toxic.
Irritation. Once in a while
I have it.
Back then,
it was more. I don't know if I say more serious, but it's like it was before the existence of participation trophies. It was when you could still be competitive, and you could win or lose. And then it just motivated you to play the next game. Like you
learn to get better. You get a beat down, learn from it, and get back up.
Yeah, you try as hard as you can, and you fail. Then you go like, I want to do better. But now it's like the whole participation trophy. Everybody's a winner. Let's hug it out.
The kill streaks and all this other stuff. That's what I'm saying. It all ties into that.
As soon as you lose, I wasn't trying. Well, okay, Captain Excuse, then. Good luck with the rest of your life, because your actions in everything that you do will build your character for the rest of your life.
Good luck in a real job. Just won't do anything.
I wasn't trying, boss.
What? You didn't get the promotion?
You're fired, Johnny.
So shocking that you didn't get the promotion.
Johnny PP
Johnny PP Pants.
Was there any other ones?
The last one.
Okay.
Zombies has changed too much. And they and that was a separate one. And someone else said they messed up by adding it to every Call of Duty. So, yeah. In terms of changed it. I mean, change is inevitable. I know what you're saying. For those of you that were saying that, like, it's changed too much. We like Treyarch, not the other kinds, or it's too tight. It's not like the old maps, like when in World at War, which made zombies as popular as it is, right? Everyone loves zombies. Those maps were fun. They were just sort of, but today's maps are seemingly so story driven, Easter egg, whatever you want to call it, driven, rather than, again, the gameplay. It's like they did the same thing. They took away from focusing on the fundamentals and just playing fun maps and trying to survive as long as possible to what's the story and what's this. And I know a lot of you love that stuff, and that's cool. We play zombies all the time. I love zombies. I really do. Chris loves it way more than I do. He plays way more zombies over the years. He's played way more than I have. But I still enjoyed those old maps, and I see what you're saying. I don't know how you feel. I'm kind of like, I don't really care about the game design. I don't really see it, but you may have a point more on that. But in terms of, before I hand it over to you, Chris, in terms of adding zombies to every single Call of Duty, I think it's a cop-out. I think it's hey, this is popular. Instead of focusing on making your game better, instead of focusing on making the franchise better and doing what needs to be done, whether it's lowering the price of DLC, making it free, stop with the other stuff, you know, making better map designs and stuff like that. I don't want to, you know, the zombies adding it to everything as a cop-out. That's not what Call of Duty is. They're like, oh, I'm not getting it because I don't like what they did with zombies. Zombies is not Call of Duty. That is a secondary thing that they added on. Call of Duty is playing these maps and playing these things with the guns in Search and Destroy and TDM. Zombies, to me, is not. It is a secondary thing. It's fun. That's not what sells Call of Duty for me. I don't buy it for zombies. And I know so many of you did, but that's, again, another bastardization of what made this game and why this game is even so popular as it is. It had nothing to do with zombies at all. Anyway, that was my...
That was your 2 cents?
Yeah. So how do you feel, Manny?
I never liked when the other houses tried to make their variation of zombies. I really didn't like it until just recently. Was it this one or the last one that was really good?
I think we played the beginning of World War II. We actually liked it. It was the recoup the shields. We played it. We beat the boss guy. I think it was World War II. I think it was World War II.
So we just jumped in, we played it. But unlike a lot of you guys who maybe play the same maps over and over and over again, we play them like once or twice because we play zombies every day and we try and do something new every day.
Yeah.
And we still play World at War ourselves and we make our own maps. The way we like them, whether it's a fun one or if it's a challenging one, or other people in the community make some really, really good maps that still have those elements of Easter eggs. And instead of just a weird Easter egg, they're like, I think it's cool, like this 4 different things to do, and one thing may give you Perkaholic, and one thing you have to do to open the door to Pack-a-Punch, and one thing you need to do this, another thing you need to do this to get to the viable end game, and you can do none of them and just play. You know, I like those options, but as far as a lot of people talked about, maybe they should have made Zombies a standalone game, which, look, I know why they tried to do it, because of the money part, right?
Yeah.
But early on, I hated them. I despised them. Like, you know, I'm like, this isn't like, zombies.
Stop adding this. Like,
Stop
what
it.
is this crap?
This last one that we played was legit. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. This was by Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good. Like, even if I wouldn't say it was you know, comparing to the other zombies, but this was a really super fun zombie game that felt like Call of Duty Zombies to me.
Yeah, more traditional. Like they got a little bit better there.
There were some twists in there that were fun that made it different. But see, look, I like that. I love all the Black Ops stuff. And when I say Black Ops, I mean the maps that you guys play and the thousands of community custom maps that we play.
Yeah. Creativity. They're more traditional though, dude. Maybe that's why you like them. They're more here's a map. You could run around here. You can just shoot, find a spot, get some guns, and it's not so super story driven. That's what I'm saying. Like the new ones are all about these quote Easter eggs. And they're not Easter eggs. They're just stories.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for you and there's a place for me in zombies. Like I always said, we would be hunting around for solving the Easter egg. You know, I heard some voice over there. It's like, okay, it's like, all right. Well, I just want to shoot zombies in the face. You know, that was always me. I was just like, okay. Yeah. I'll keep you alive to the next round, and then you guys can go look again. I'll keep you alive again. You know, that was my role, was just own and face. And that was my place, and there's places for other people too. So if the maps or the game gives you that type of option, where you can play it the way you want or the way they want, story driven, or just an awesome experience, then it's a win. It's a win for me and for the other people. Yeah, it's the way I look at it. I agree with that they shouldn't have ever added any of those other zombies in there.
No, they didn't
until now.
I think it was a desperate move.
Sledgehammer did a good job, though. I can't talk bad about them. I think that was pretty fun. Those pretty fun zombies. You know, and it was enough. It wasn't like, don't say that this competes against Treyarch. Say it's like the twin sister, right? This one's
it's
really
their version
attractive.
Of zombies, we like it.
And
It's
so
good.
is she, but they have different personalities, and I like them both, right?
It's always about
nothing
the
wrong
ladies
double
with
date.
you, isn't
It's
it?
a double date.
It's a double date. Don't get greedy. Anyway, so yeah, we just wanted to talk about it because Black Ops 4 is coming. The beta is out today, actually, as you guys are watching this. Hopefully I'm on that, getting some stuff for You Always Win as well. But we want to know, like, in all honesty, not here to bash Call of Duty. You know, if you don't like it, that's cool. Move on. You know, get over it. And I don't bash on things that I don't like. That's cool. You don't have to like it. But if you did at one point like it, or if you do even still like it, what is it? What can they
Or you
change?
want to like it again.
Yeah, like me. That's like me.
Yeah.
Is there a way? Do you think there is a way? Because maybe someone at Activision will come across this video. Maybe they'll come across and they'll see your comments.
Activision.
Or they'll hear us and they'll say, you know what? They may have a point. Maybe we should try this. I promise you, Activision, if you do a little bit of this and listen to the community, I think you can bring it back up. But there's so many little changes. I'm not sure what has to be changed. I really don't. And we would love to hear your
ideas.
Thoughts. Yeah, of course you do. We'd like to hear your thoughts, though, in the comments. I'd like to, read them and everything like that. And remember, just in case, maybe Activision's listening, maybe they will see it and everything like that. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I know I did. I'm enjoying these more casual ones, Chris?
I did too. I enjoyed it. And I like talking about this stuff. Like you said, it's not a bash fest. It's an open line of communication. See if we can find some balance in our gaming community and see if we can help find some balance with these game developers to where they still make a ton of money and we get a lot more value added to the games that we're purchasing and that we love to play.
For sure.
So that's going to do it. We're going to wrap up this third episode of the You Always Win podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. You guys, we'd love to see some discussions open up down there in the comment section. Be kind, but let's hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching.